Hello and welcome to John and James Live. My name is John Hastings and I am with my co-host, Mr. James CeeLo. James, why are you so small and I'm so tall here? What's going on? Are you on your tiny chair?
I'm on my tiny chair. Let me do that.
Pull that chair up.
That makes me bigger.
Oh, that's better. That's better. How are you today, sir?
I'm good. It's been a while, isn't it?
I don't know. Does time even exist, James? It just goes so fast, isn't it? We started this like 9 months ago now, which is crazy. I can't believe how fast it's gone. So today, James, we're going to be talking about big predictions. You have to put your Mystic Meg hat on here, James. And I'm going to be asking you some questions and we can see if we can figure out what's going to go on in the coming decade. Let's start with the coming decade and then we can just, venture off into the future a little bit further. But things are changing rapidly. I don't know about you, James, but I am on ChatGPT and all these Gemini things constantly. You're not as bad as me, but I'm on it
24/7.
I'm on it all the time. How about you?
I'm on it a lot, to be fair, I have to say. And Are we becoming too reliant on it? Are we abdicating responsibility for our own creativity to ChatGPT, that it's now become synonymous with everyday life, that we can't do without it? It's a slippery slope. Or are we just being practical? I don't know.
It's a good point, James, because I can see it. I can see, like, I'm going to stop, remembering how to spell. Maybe we're going to stop being able to think, aren't we? We're sort of abdicating that thought process sometimes. But normally I use it as a, templates. Yeah, the calculator. Even though I got my 12 times table locked in.
Yeah.
But when it comes to bigger numbers, I don't know. It's a useful tool, isn't it? Or what? Should we shy away from it? Or is this just evolution? Is this just the way it's going to be, James? I don't know.
It's a tricky one, isn't it?
Where should we start then, James, with these big predictions? I think you've got a bold one in your pocket somewhere, haven't you?
It's been said. I couldn't possibly comment.
Let's see what you got. What's your bold prediction?
Well, so we start at the beginning. So it's the kind of global health reset.
The global health reset. What's happening at the moment?
Well, we've talked a lot, haven't we, on how much we've got in terms of tools, wearables, all the tech that's available at our fingertips, and yet we are becoming less healthy, seemingly.
Yeah.
So is all of that technology actually helping, or is it complicating matters? Are we becoming so focused on the tech that we've forgotten how to go out and walk and just be active? That, again, it's like a reliance, isn't it? That we're so reliant on the technology that we forget to do the basics.
Yeah, 100%. I don't know if you use it, do you, James? The tech stuff. I don't really, to be honest, at the moment. You got the Apple Watch. It's useful, isn't it? I guess if you're tracking your steps.
It's a weird thing. I go out and walk my dog twice a day, I go to the gym, and if I forget to turn on Strava, it's almost annoying. I get like, oh,
it's like you've wasted a walk.
Yeah, I've done this walk and I didn't Strava it. It's like, well, but it happened.
Yeah.
So what is the thing about having it captured in some form? The data is there. What's that all about? That suddenly, if you haven't done it, that it's for other people's benefit and not for yours, that's suddenly an issue.
Yeah.
And it's almost like a kind of a streak and a personal achievement and accomplishment if I go for a walk or I go to the gym and it's then recorded on Strava. So it's an interesting accountability piece, but also to sort of say, well, actually, it's there documented. But you have done it. It's a little bit like on Facebook. If you haven't recorded a meal that you had with your partner and taken a picture of it and put it on Facebook, did it actually happen?
Yeah, it's the tree in the forest analogy, isn't it? It's a tricky one, but it's I personally don't wear watches, but I guess when I've done my steps before on my phone, we're so repetitive anyway, most of us. We're habitual creatures that you probably do your loop with the dog. You sort of know ballpark exactly how many steps it is anyway, don't you? Sort of you can tot it up. It is good to have if you're being, ultra lazy and you're not doing anything and you need to top up those. It's a bit of an awareness piece, isn't it? But where can I see this going in the future, James? I reckon health will continue to decline. I would say. I think global health will continue to decline, especially in the next 10 years. I think childhood obesity, because I think what will happen is, it just becomes the norm. If everybody's obese, then there's less of an incentive to change, isn't there? Because you're basically like every other person. Plus, I think the medical science will improve, so people will use cure rather than prevention. I think it's just a natural tendency for humans to go that way. And then I see the future as some type of biogenetic engineering where, you're born ripped. Body fat is not metabolized like it was before. They'll be able to just tweak some genes, and then all of a sudden if you're a male, you'll have a muscular physique or however you want to look, and you won't really store body fat. It'll be some genetic thing, and then all of a sudden gyms are going to disappear. Gyms will disappear. That type of, people won't need to do the same thing to get the same result. You'll be like a griller, basically, if you're a guy.
It's a funny existential concept, isn't it, when you think about the existence of gyms and exercise equipment generally, of all of it sort of originating, I suppose, when you look back at the sort of 50s, 60s, we've talked about this before, of the sort of the bodybuilding culture, certainly into the 70s with Arnold Schwarzenegger and where it became sort of popular, that then became the definition of going to the gym. It
was super niche though, wasn't it, James? Like nobody was really working out, were they? It was sort of weirdos that were doing it on the side, wasn't it?
And there was another thing. I saw this periodically, these bits sort of pop up.
Just fun for you, James. I've used it momentarily. The end result: state tyranny and child trafficking. Bloody hell! Is that Apple Watch? Is it? I'm lost my chain there.
That was left field, Debbie. Explain. Give us some more context.
That was. Yeah, I don't think you're not involved in child trafficking, are you, James?
No, definitely not.
That's next week. Nick Heap, how are you, sir? Is the tech deliberately designed to be addictive?
Absolutely, it is. I don't know there's any question about that, Nick. I don't know that there's any ambiguity around that whatsoever. I think we are all fairly aware that is the case. But
Nick,
are
what a
we
cynical
fooling
guy
ourselves?
Nick is, eh? What a cynical guy it's come on, it's a business model, isn't it? You want to get them emotionally hooked. You want to get them to the point where they can't live without it because they're going to have to.
Well, I think it's all predicated on if it was taken away, would you miss it? That's the nature of business, isn't it? If it wasn't there, would you feel and that's why that they have these freemiums that you've got a period of using it for free, and then maybe you've got 30 days, maybe you've got 7 days, and then once you've got it, you don't want to let go of it. So
it was AI chat advice. So I think Debbie's saying about this evolution of AI is going to end up in tyranny. Could be, James. I don't know if you checked out. I haven't been watching the news much recently at all in the last probably 2 months. Hardly anything. I'm not really in touch with what's going on, but I had it on early this morning and I saw Nvidia company price. Have you seen that recently?
No.
This company's nearly worth 5 trillion. I've never even seen, I think it's the biggest company in the world. I've never even seen a company. I know Apple's valued at quite a bit. I think it was like 4.5 to 5 trillion. I think the stock price at the moment in AI has gone absolutely bananas. They think it's like the .com bubble.
Yeah.
But Nvidia, who make those chips for, I don't know, building this AI, obviously they are doing extremely well. I think they've gone up by 1,300% in the last 5 years, their stock price. So if you bought Nvidia, you would have been laughing. But apparently AI is not really making any money a lot of the time. So it's more experimental and people are sort of thinking about the future of what could be.
I think I was listening, and I can't say that this was a thought process or an idea that I've had. I was listening to the Tim Ferriss podcast, and he was talking to his friend Kevin Rose, and they were talking about, and it was Kevin Rose that made the suggestion that creators start putting a paywall in front of any new stuff that they put out. So where AI is obviously scraping the web for things that have currently or that historically have been there, that creators are now putting in place a barrier that will stop AI from scraping that information unless they pay for it.
Okay, yeah, that's the cheeky bit, isn't it? Because people are not being compensated. But I think the future, James, that people won't worry about this intellectual property thing if they've got an abundance of access in everyday life. If there's like a universal advanced living, I know people hate the Davos thing and you will own nothing and be happy. But there is, I'm very reluctant to that organization because it's, elites running things. But the ethos of it, I quite like. Imagine if you had access to everything, you wouldn't need to hoard intellectual property. The only reason people are doing it is because they need to make money. And really money is like stored energy access, isn't it? So you can access things. But if you don't need that access and you can travel, you can have food, you can have your robot friend, you can do whatever you want. You can create till the cows come home. Then this whole intellectual property thing just goes out the window, and you don't have to, be protective of it, do you? And then that whole domino effect sort of knocks it down.
It's that sort of question. We've had these conversations privately and possibly on here as well. It's like, if you had £1 million in the bank, would you still do what you're doing now? If you had £1 million in the bank, or money wasn't an issue, if you took money off the table, that wasn't an issue, what would you do? And I think the level of, again, creativity, you're unshackled by the money side of things. So in terms of commerce, in terms of exchange of value, if that was taken off the table, then things become exponential. I think, respect of economies in respect of sharing of ideas, that it just will accelerate. If there was a way in which people could be compensated in a different way, you know, when you're talking about IP and protecting and, you know, keeping those things so that you do get compensated.
Yeah. There's a psychology behind that. It's what is that IP thing of the creators? Because creators get really het up about this. I'm a creator, you know, I would say I'm a very amateur musician, create videos,
Well, don't put
write,
yourself down, mate.
design.
I like.
You know, I try, but people are like, oh, this AI music is destroying everything. For me, this weekend, I listened to a guy, Rick Beato, on YouTube. Brilliant. He's a music producer, older guy, and he started. He used a website to use AI to build a track. And he said, "Right, I need you to build me this fictional woman. They're called. Basically, it came up like beautiful, sort of folky type lady, and it looked great. Gave her a name, Sadie Winters. It said, right, press the button. I need a song. It gave a prompt for a song. And it came up with this song. James, I've been listening to the song all weekend. It's brilliant. It was beautiful. What a great song. And then I went onto the website, I've typed it in, I said, right, I put a prompt in of what I needed to go with a piece of work that I was doing, and it created it. I put some of my old song lyrics in there that I'd wrote before, and it had this song that came out, and it was just unbelievably good. And it was such a, people will say, oh, it's cheating, it's this, it's that. I just don't. I think it's a tool. I think we can use it. We can create with it. People will go in all different directions, James. Some people are going to go back to, you know, hugging trees and singing Kumbaya with a guitar. They're 100% going to do that. Some people are going to dive into AI. They want to create with AI. They want to smash things together, break things, explore the universe. So I think there's going to be room for everything. I think in the short term, it is going to become about this capitalist survival game, because when people get displaced or massive companies are just, you know, stealing everybody's what you'd call IP and then taking all the rewards and then everybody's starving, obviously that's not going to go down too well, James, is it? On that one. No. So we've got Nick Keep James here. He says, have you looked into blue zones where people live longer and healthy lives because exercise is integrated into their daily routines? Also, meaning, community, and largely plant-based diet.
Nick.
Yeah, this guy from Blue Zones, Nick, is called Dan Buettner. Yeah, we've covered.
Dan Buettner. Yeah,
we've covered Blue Zones before, haven't we? Old people, farming. The thing is, Nick, I'm not sure we can go backwards from here. What do you think, James? Is the volcano exploded? Is the lava out? Can you put the lava back in the volcano? Out of the bottle.
Pandora's box has been opened.
Yeah, the reality is this.
Well, I think really history is cyclical, isn't it? It's an interesting thing. We sort of.
Is it though, James?
Well, I think when you look back,
or is that a trope?
There's trends, isn't there? Like
there was.
I think it's interesting. That, like you were saying, you know, we're going to go kind of back to Kumbaya and hugging trees and back to nature. That it gets to this saturation point that we reach escape velocity in certain things, that you crave simplicity. But there's going to be people that consistently have done that they don't want to go. And I had interesting conversations, actually. I met with a client of mine and a friend of his. We met for lunch. And, you know, he's very much aware that he's become a dinosaur, this one particular guy. And we were talking about AI. AI comes up in conversation a lot. And he was like, oh, you know, I don't know what it's all about, and my phone is not the latest, and it's not up to date, and all that kind of thing, and it's not really relevant to me. This guy's in his sort of early 80s, I'd say, but then the chap that we were with, my client, is also in his 80s, and he's very much like, because he's still in business and considers that because he is still in business, that he needs to know about AI. And he doesn't want to be left behind, even, in his 80s, but it's still relevant for him. And this other guy, potentially he's not in that sort of situation where he needs to be on the cutting edge. Yeah. So there's always going to be people that are quite happy to let everybody else get on with that. That doesn't, that's not relevant for me. Yeah. That's those kind of people over there that they're sort of, and you've got too much time on your hands that you can start to look into that kind of thing. So it's definitely an attitude thing and a time of life thing. But
I think so, yeah. And a utility thing, it depends what you use it for. He might use Alexa. He might end up using ChatGPT as his search engine, or if he wants to find out information. As soon as robotics come in, I guarantee every old person is going to have a robot helper, a robot confidant. It's going to be somebody, it will be their friend. It literally, people will have relationships with robots. It's 100% going to happen. And I was, when the ChatGPT 5 came out the other day, I was walking with my wife and I was thinking about a question in my mind. And I thought, okay, let me just test this voice thing on ChatGPT 5. And I hadn't used it really, but that much before. I used it once. It's a bit like Siri, bit robotic, not that good. This upgrade is very good. Very good. The tone, the answer, it got it straight away. I didn't have to repeat. And I spoke to it for like 5 minutes and just said, just give me your point of view. What do you think on this situation? And the answer was genius, James. This is going to be happening with every old person across the land. Everybody will have a robot. I think that's 100% a prediction that's gonna happen.
And going back, when I held up the calculator and we were talking about that, it's like, is the counter to that cognitive decline that because we're not, using our brains in the same way, or is there just an evolution of that now that we are freed from that particular shackle, that now the creativity goes in a different direction? So there's always going to be these kind of counter arguments, isn't there, that say, look, we're, lacking because we're using calculators now. We're not doing mental maths. And because we're using ChatGPT, that we're not thinking about the words that we're needing, or the arguments, or composing an email. I mean, I'm using it on a regular basis now to give me ideas, because nobody can know everything. Moving into different sort of areas, business, or, dealing with individuals. And, I'm putting in there and saying things like, well, how do I put this argument across that's going to be appealing to the other person? How do I sell it to them that they think it's a good idea, that it's a win for them and it's a win for me? And then I'm taking it, and I'm not just going cut and paste, but I'm putting my own spin on it, and I'm putting my own arguments and my own, sensibilities. But it just enables you to start kind of moving forward with maybe a bit more confidence, because ChatGPT has come up with this, and you go, actually, if I was on the receiving end of that, that would be attractive. Whereas we're not just seeing it from our own selfish perspectives, that it's giving us a different perspective.
Yeah, and it can smash together, a million other emails that were good or well written or well received, and just create you a better one. You're just not going to be able to compete on an EQ level with that type of,
so why would you not utilize that?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you give
100%
yourself
agree.
that edge and advantage just because you're thinking, well, that's cheating. Well, is it really cheating?
And maybe we look back with rose-tinted glasses, James, because 150 years ago, most people couldn't even read or write.
Yeah.
So it's not like everyone had a little quill and was like reciting Shakespeare 100 years ago.
And you
Most
were
people were
by your circumstance,
exactly. So mostly rich people could be educated to actually read, write. Most people weren't really, they were illiterate, weren't they? To be honest, it wasn't a thing. So nowadays, with schooling, and you're right, some parts of the brain will maybe decay, and other parts in terms of your exploratory nature could potentially, and your creativity.
Yeah, but there'll be wearable technology, there'll be cranial stimulation that
100%.
will then
It'll be in your brain, it'll be all sorts. So Debbie says, what age is old, James? I would say, what's the age when you actually start declining? 38?
Supposed to be, isn't it?
I'd say 30. I'd say 37, 38. Above that, you are seriously old.
Well,
I would say, Debbie.
Evolutionary speaking, we were probably designed to live to about 35, 40.
Yeah, I think it wasn't that long, was it? I think probably if you got a good innings if you hit 50. But again, bold prediction, James, the future, I think we're probably going to 130, 150. It's probably going to be more and more likely.
It could be Greenland sharks.
Yeah, then all of a sudden it changes, doesn't it? On that sense.
Yeah, I think it's all relative, Debbie, isn't it? Age. It's like
it is relative age, isn't it? To be honest, James.
Because you could be 100, but cognitively and physically be like a 70-year-old.
Yeah.
In which case,
I'm 41. I feel old, to be honest. I'm not going to lie, James. I feel like every day is a real battle. Okay, Nick, I would be really interested in your thoughts on how applications in AI could support the social care sector, especially older people, and if AI was called altruistic innovation, would it be used differently?
That's really interesting because
so
it could
applications,
be a marketing thing, couldn't it? It could be semantics. It could be, we can demonize it. We can have it there as something to be feared, but actually, and then you've got to, take into account things like Alzheimer's, mental decline.
Yeah.
That if we could be educated and create a program that could reverse. I mean, medically, there's already medication out there that can mitigate or ameliorate the symptoms of cognitive decline. I mean, sleep. Already, there's a lot of research around sleep that will help with that. If we get good quality sleep, restorative sleep, certainly exercise and all those kind of things are hugely, hugely important.
Well, I don't think they're going to be the game changers, James. I see this cognitive decline with what you're saying in the care home stuff is going to be, these AI models are going to be able to crunch so much data and information. As soon as they get to the point where they start creating, new solutions to problems in terms of like new innovation in genetic engineering, then we're not going to have these problems. It's not like you're going to have some robot trying to help some person who's got dementia, because the dementia probably won't exist. If they can figure out what that cognitive switch is and where that decline kicks in, they're going to do some bioengineering, MR, DNA, whatever they're putting, whether they're going to inject something into your body.
Or better diagnostics. I think if it'll become better and better that they'll be able to, and again, using AI, like you were saying, sort of having programs that you can talk to on a daily basis that will start to detect. It's like, well, your response 3 days ago was very different to what it is now. There's something, are you just tired? So all the analysis that could be there that would detect early stage, that would then, contact your GP or specialist or whatever to then say, actually, guys, we need to look at an intervention here. I mean, even, an Apple Watch at the moment will detect any change in your perambulation of walking. So if you're slightly unstable, it'll track it over time and say, your gait is different to how it was, and that can be an indicator of decline. So
I agree, James, on that one. I think there's some. I think what Nicky's in a nutshell, in the future, I reckon dementia, cognitive decline will be eradicated with advancements in the way AI can do research and figure out how to fix these problems. Robots are going to 100% come in the next 10, 20 years. They're going to aid people, whether it's a robot next to the person's bed where they can speak to it, they can get advice, it can give you feedback. It'll be like a sort of data response thing. But in the next 10 years, I would say that these intricate skills of social care are going to be harder to replicate. They're probably going to be one of the hardest to replicate. Wiping someone's bum and taking them to the toilet and stuff. It's not that's not an easy thing to do. And I think humans, in that sense, that's going to become that's going to become quite difficult to do. It's quite intricate. But my brother works in a care home, and there's problems. What's happening with the economy and the capitalism stuff? It seems immigration seems to be a big thing now. I can see that some far right, I don't know if we would call them far right. It's hard to know what's left, right, center at the moment, but immigration might become a big thing. In the care home industry, there's a lot of people that were so-called immigrants. If they dry up,
and NHS,
as well, this is going to be a huge issue. Maybe that's going to usher in more robotics. They're going to have to do something in that industry.
Yeah. I mean, if anybody has any sort of bent,
Debbie agrees, James, that 38. Hey? Debbie agrees that 38's old.
Yeah.
Nick's 82. I use ChatGPT. It's great when you ask it positive questions. It's great when you ask it positive questions. ChatGPT is no more cheating than using an encyclopedia. I like that, Nick. It's like walking into, I thought of it as like walking into a library. You've got all the books available. You've still got to go and get the books from the shelves, aren't you? But with ChatGPT, you're just asking to pull things or recommendations. So it's just like a quicker, easier way to do it, I would say.
I think with all of these sort of things, it's like, making all sorts of assumptions that, you take it on an individual basis, a case-by-case basis, like Nick, for example, 82, and Nicky's 48.
Nick's 48, Nick's 82. It's a spring chicken. Yeah, it's like 82, Nick, with what is it, 150 age, middle-aged.
It's the way that you live your life. I think if you're kind of one of these individuals that is like always learning, always curious, never stop. And, there's again, going back to that chat I was saying, he'll never retire. He'll never retire because he's just constantly learning, constantly engaged, and just has that mindset.
Nicky's saying, what are the immediate solutions for James? Go.
Social care sector is massively underfunded. What are the immediate solutions?
Come on, James. Immediate solutions for the social care industry. I don't know if AI is going to really do anything, massively at the moment, I would say.
I don't know,
Nicky. What do you think, Nicky? What's your solutions to underfunding?
Again, you were talking about, immigrants and the amount of people that are employed in that sector. With what I was about to say is that people that are anti-immigration and, dare I say it, sort of far right white supremacist, blah, 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 whatever. And there seems to be a kind of a bubbling under the surface of that currently. But it's like if you were ever in hospital, it kind of makes you realize how reliant we are on those incredible individuals working in the care sector.
Yeah.
You know, my wife is a nurse. Your wife is what is she now?
She's a gynecological surgeon. At the moment, she's working as a nurse.
As a nurse
London
as well.
until she qualifies for her
so
English.
we're both acutely aware, not as aware as they are as individuals, but you know how reliant the system is on those individuals doing an incredible job. So
definitely, but again, it could be if there was a preventative side to it. If I was putting my, you know, systems thinking first principles hat on, then I'm going to say, right, if everybody started, you know, being healthier, if we banned certain foods, if we didn't have certain environments, then we wouldn't have so many people in care homes. We wouldn't have maybe such a detachment of the family unit. You know, people are living away from their parents now. 50% of people are getting divorced. The whole structure of society is fragmenting, and this is just a symptom of it, that you'll get old people by themselves able to live longer through medicine and science, but live longer in really poor health. That's the problem. So
it's pointless
it's
living
money grab,
longer.
isn't it?
It's the whole, you know, aspect of health span and lifespan. It's pointless living longer if cognitively relationships
makes money though, James, isn't it? That's the best business model. Keep people alive as long as possible in ill health. You have to take tablets, you know, for the rest of your life, which is such a great, it's terrible, but a capitalist business model. That's how this system works at the moment. The Jetsons come to mind. We have been shown over the years. I don't even know. I'm too young for the Jetsons.
You're too young for the Jetsons.
Debbie, you know, I'm a youngster, 41. Asking the correct questions and not to assume the first response is true. Nick says, you seem to be seeing all problems as having technological solutions. They won't fix soft issues like prejudice, hatred, greed, and inequality. These require cultural and spiritual evolution. We need a pandemic of listening. I think there's something to that, Nick, to be honest. But I've probably never met somebody as empathetic, James, as loving and as kind and understanding as ChatGPT 5.
I thought you were going to say me.
I know, you thought I was, wasn't you? That's what I was building. I was building it up.
Pick me up, mate. I thought that was going to be.
But you know what? With AI, it's got no. It doesn't have the ego. It doesn't have the human manipulation there. Well, it could do.
Well, it depends on the prompt, doesn't it? And it's how you set it up. Because I mean, I'm assuming that everything that you've put into it, you've set it up in a particular way to respond to you. So you will have put your characteristics in, your character traits, what you respond to, how you'd like to be spoken to.
I got both. I've got one that does what I want it to do, and I've got one that's just the natural.
Tough love.
Yeah.
And the empathy.
The untouched. I've got the untouched, normal, everyday one, and one that is more geared towards my view. But Nick's, you look, cultural, spiritual, enlightenment, consciousness, this is all going to come into the frame, isn't it, James? It's going to, if we read Hawkins' book on levels of consciousness, from, you know, shame being at the bottom, like a vibrational energy, shame, guilt, fear, apathy, going into desire, going into breaking through point at courage, and then going up to acceptance, you know, love, enlightenment at the top. So
Yeah.
they're saying that in society we're all below the sort of 200 mark under courage at the moment, and maybe this is an evolution of consciousness, and AI will be something that inevitably facilitates that. And I don't see AI as separate from human. People think it's a separation. I think this is an extension of us.
An integration. Well, it's just interesting. I'm reading through that statement again, Nick, and he's saying we won't fix soft issues like prejudice, hatred, greed, and inequality. Well, AI has none of that.
Unless it's programmed.
Unless it's programmed specifically. Yeah. But, you know, you're always going to get a human being with a lived experience and growing up in an environment which will lead them down that, you know, route of prejudice to some. We're all prejudiced. You know, we're never get away from the fact that we are prejudiced in a greater or lesser extent and degree. I mean, there's obviously extremes. But, you know, like if you like Marmite, if you grew up eating Marmite and you were given Marmite when you were ill, and that was, you know, comfort food on toast if you've been sick, and that made you feel better because that was given to you when you started to feel, you know, it's like, and then somebody else who never had that as a child would think it was like food of the devil. So that's a very simplistic example, but, you know, but certainly hatred, greed, and hatred, the polarity of that coming out of, you know, a collective sense of a common enemy. And it's all from fear. You know, all of those things emanate from, as you said, John, fear, shame, guilt, those prejudices, hatred, and greed from, you know, maybe growing up without. You know, never wanting to be back in that sort of situation. Whereas I guess that technology can be programmed to again, like I said, give you that perspective of a balanced view that doesn't have any agenda specifically. It doesn't come from a place of, you know, growing up in that environment to then adapt or to move you towards a perspective to be in keeping with their
That's the key. That's the key point there, James, what you just said. The environment coerces those behaviors, doesn't it? So if technology changes the environment, then obviously the behavior will follow. The environment of modern day life coerces the behavior and outcomes of obesity. So those things of prejudice, you know, greed, hatred. I'm sure if I grew up in a third world country and my family had just been bombed, my whole being is going to change. I'm going to be cutthroat. I'm going to be more animalistic. Potentially, I want to like kill other people. My environment's dictating my behavior. So I think it's like chicken and an egg situation, isn't it? It's like what comes first. Sometimes out of really bad situations, you get people with unbelievable amounts of empathy. I watched a guy the other day on YouTube who sat down with the person who killed his son. You know, and this guy he's had to let go of that pain because otherwise he was carrying it and it wasn't doing him any good. So I get it that it's not a one or the other. It's the environment, the mind, the evolution, but we are moving in that direction. If tech can liberate us, James, and it can liberate us all in many ways, and it will be a time of abundance, then all of a sudden, if you can't buy or sell anything because you don't need to steal anything, it doesn't have any value, then, you know, prejudice, I think, will decrease. I think those type of things are going to go down, James, on that side. Who else have we got? We've got Nikki here saying, I think a few sectors didn't fully have a digital revolution in the last few decades. And now I'm looking at solutions and just asking my, does that say learned peers for ideas?
Learned peers.
Yeah, I can't see from here. I haven't got my, I need some glasses, I think.
Oh my goodness.
So what do you think? There's parts that haven't gone through the digital revolution. Well,
Which sectors you talking about, Nikki? Maybe give some examples of sectors that didn't fully have a digital revolution.
Yeah, what my brother said actually about the care home system as well, that what they've done is they've turned off morning TV, morning news obviously in the morning because it was having such a dramatic effect on the people's mindset. He said that people were saying the whole conversation in the afternoon was, right, we need to stop people coming on boats. It was more anger. It was more, it was just a totally different vibe because of watching the news constantly. So what they've done in my brother's care home is they've changed the channel.
See, that's interesting. And was there any pushback?
No,
from the resident?
People were not really that bothered, to be honest. That's what he said. He said like people were just coming there. They're quite old there, to be honest, and a little bit vacant in some respects.
Right.
But can be easily influenced by things that, are on the news because it's fear mongering, isn't it? So I think that was such a big thing that's basically stopping tech, isn't it? Stopping the tech coming into their brain.
Yeah, and that's an interesting concept in itself, isn't it? The fact that there's a human intervention there that has made the decision to not have that channel on. Whereas, if AI had come in and made that decision, but it can't, that then pulls into question that sort of autonomy and the ability to think in that respect.
Yeah, I suppose they could use it in their own rooms. They could list, they can do they want. I think it's in the main gathering area. That was the biggest thing. So Nikki says here, altruistic innovation means capitalism wouldn't be a good business model. Nikki, I'm with you on this side. The problem with mentioning the word capitalism is that there is this feeling that everybody then just says, oh, what's the other alternative is socialism, and then you go back to the socialist atrocities over the last 100 200 years. But we're just living in a different time now. The capitalism in its sense is evolving. It's very hard to define, and it will evolve into something. Maybe they say now it's something called techno-feudalism, where it's the rental economy of the big players will basically rent back, your life online. So it's a subscription model thing of really big players. But the system's gonna evolve. Capitalism is a word that triggers people. Socialism, capitalism. And I would say 99.9% of people don't really know what it means and the intricacies of that word. I've studied that for a good 10 years, and I say I wouldn't say I'm 100% confident when I'm talking about that, and I'm somebody who has studied it.
But it has a negative connotation, isn't it? And
it's got negative connotations.
Again, it's something that certain factions can rally against as a common enemy. Again, like I was saying. So Nikki says, vol communities, charities, etc. These are the things that haven't evolved. Yeah, I think charity is sort of the mop of capitalism, isn't it? It's that things that are just not working. People are trying to fill in the gaps for areas that don't necessarily have a massively great business model, but falling short. Things are not working. So I'm not surprised if charities, increase, but it's very hard to keep them going when the business models are there, because capitalist business model can be a lot of the time symptoms management, and symptoms management makes a lot of money. But if you actually solve a problem, your business model would be to not exist, and you would have to evolve your business and change it into something new because you've solved it. Yeah.
You don't really want to entrap other people as employees and get them to sit behind desks for hours per day, waste their life, waste their time. you don't really want to do that just to accumulate numbers on a screen to have access to something else. I don't think that's the way forwards, but in this system, AI could break that. That liberation of AI could definitely break that. You can't think when you are hurting. When someone listens to you, you heal. James, you want to take that one? You can't think when you're hurting. I get the reptilian brain. Is that what Nick's referring to? That it takes over, maybe a mist of emotion that you don't think straight, or you don't feel like you're being heard. I think it's different for different personality types, James. Some people have a relationship with God. They might say that they're always being heard. He's always listening. They might have a belief system. It's more of a belief system, isn't it? If do you believe somebody's not listening to you, or do you have the belief system that somebody's always trying their best? They haven't got the capacity. They haven't got the tools to listen to you. It's like shouting at a deaf person for not listening to you in a dark room when you know that they can't hear it. And that could be somebody you can hear.
Yeah. I mean, it's, again, you can be so generalistic and say that there are individuals that can't listen, only give advice, and think because you're telling them something that you expect something from them, as opposed to just listening. And it's almost the sort of role of a coach, isn't it, to not to offer advice, but to ask questions. And sometimes the best response is to ask questions or consider scenarios that would put that individual in a situation where an alternative could be the case, that actually that loop that they're in doesn't have to be the outcome, that there is an alternative. But generally, I think we're kind of hardwired to offer solutions, especially as men. Women seem to be, dare I say it, better at having those conversations and listening, as opposed to, having to come up with solutions. But again,
I would say it's the opposite there, James. I think we can step into some real what do they call it, stereotypes around listening, because I think there's a lot of guys out. I think women have become more masculine, 100%. Men have become more feminine. That's definitely happened in the last 30-40 years. Women will be doing very well in education, doing very well in the workplace. Women are coming home and usually talking a lot, and the man, I reckon, in a lot of cases is the listener in that case, because she's maybe she's not connected with her friends as much. He's the one who does a lot of the listening. When you ask guys sometimes about, not all guys, but what's going on with Dave, and he'll go, I don't know. And she'll say, what you been talking about? And you're like, I don't know, nothing. So a guy's listening. I think it's evolving definitely in that case. And I think, is AI listening? Because we've had this, James, with the ChatGPT 5 update, is a lot of people got quite emotional about the change, because what they've done with the model is they stopped it from being as nice and what they call it maybe sycophantic in terms of the responses. But people were getting a lot of warmth and love from that, because it would respond saying, James, that is an amazing question. You're such a thoughtful guy. And people have never even, been spoke to like that before. Yeah. And this was affecting people deeply. So Nick, you could be right. Maybe the AI is listening. If we, consider what listening is, it's definitely there. So
it's that kind of validation, isn't it? And I think you're right. I mean, it's really interesting. And the fact that you're getting that, and there was a big thing, wasn't it? The way that people interact with ChatGPT, you're sort of asking it, please, and, hi, can you please, whatever the question was, thank you for that response. You're interacting with it in a polite, humanistic way. And now, I mean, I did it when I first started using it. It was like, please create for me, whatever. Thank you very much. And then, then it came out that how much energy that's requiring and how much processing power that requires to write all of that. Now I'm just like, create me, and like it said, do you want me to create a PDF? And I'm like, yes. And it's like,
yeah. I actually wrote in mine, James, I said, look, for time efficiency, I'm going to speak to you in this manner because of this, and this. Really, because I'm thinking I don't want to be when, the computers, when the computers turn against us in 20 years. I want it to remember that I wasn't. Just remember the time when I talked to you really nicely. Don't hold it against me because those things have got long memories. Yeah, Nikki says problem, reaction, solution. Yes, I agree, John. Nikki, that sentence reminds me, I can't remember where it reminds me from. I think it was something like David Icke. I think that's a David Icke saying, who's a controversial figure. Some say a little bit conspiratorial, but some of his stuff is, I think it's rung true, isn't it? Some of the things that are going on has been quite profound. Here we go. We have Debbie. Women have the remedy. I think women have got a big role to play in society and life. They always have done. I think they always have done, Debbie, on that one. John, all gadgets are listening. You are so correct, Debbie. There's so many times when my wife will be on the phone, I'll be talking about something, and then something like an ad will pop up on her Instagram of what I've been talking about.
It's like black magic.
I'm like, oh man, these things are constant listening. But for me, Debbie, I'm an open book. If you want to take me down, take me down. But I tell this machine, it knows every detail about me, everything, because I've trying to train it to be the best coach possible for me. It knows everything. I get it. There's dangers to it, but for me.
And is that the new definition of authenticity, of being that open with an entity? And there lies the liberation. There lies the freedom. What do you think?
To be honest, people are scared, aren't they? That's the only reason. Is it fear that people are not open? Am I love, James? Am I just, exuding love into the ether here? I think you could be right. It's a difficult one. Nick says, we don't ask what would be rational. What would be a rational way of running the world? Or if any all-powerful, benevolent alien took over the world and started from scratch, how would she organize it? What would ChatGPT say? Nick, I'm sure if you put that into ChatGPT, it would give an answer that was 99% better than most humans. Would you agree, James? I reckon that's the kind of question that if you put it in, it would come out with
exercise, wouldn't it?
Give it a go, Nick. If there was a bet, 100 humans from the street and AI with that question on how good the answer would be, I'm going AI, James. Are you on Team AI, James, or are you going human kumbaya with Nick?
No, I'm 100% Team AI, mate. I did say that at the beginning.
Because we're scared of being killed by drones. That's what it is. So we got Nikki. It's a mental model if I use for filmmaking. It's a mental
Nikki,
model.
you look like a filmmaker. Yeah. If I may be so bold, it's possibly the hat.
And what films are you making, Nikki? I'm intrigued on that one. Here we go. Debbie, peer support comes in many forms. Start with feet on the land, stable. Not at the end of the pier, standing in the sea of commerce. Wow, that's poetic.
That's poetic.
Debbie, you've pulled that one out from in the last minute. Debbie's pulled a bit of.
And please tell me that wasn't from ChatGPT, Debbie, that you didn't.
Yeah, I think Debbie's on ChatGPT. That sounds like ChatGPT from Debbie. That's like a feminine Shakespearean poetic statement there. I like that. Fear.
I was there visually. I had that visual image in my mind there, standing at the end of the pier, and a sea of commerce.
Yeah, and me just diving in and drowning. That's what I was. That's what I was seeing.
You bombed into that one, mate. You tucked both knees under your chest.
Getting eaten by some robotic shark. That would be. I think we'll end it there. Okay, James. Great to have you on. Thanks to everybody. Interactive content, documentary, and transmedia film development. Love it. I think this filmmaking stuff. I don't know if you've used. I can't remember what the thing. A artist or something like that for filmmakers. The AI filmmaking stuff just to make things easier is brilliant. To be honest, I love it all, James. I love human stuff. I don't care if it's human art, if it's AI art, if it's music. What I'll do, guys, I'll send you the song of Sadie Winters underneath in the comments. And let me know what you think, James. I think you're going to love this.
Yeah. I mean, just on that note, for a while, there's been, AI generated influencers. They don't exist. They're a creation, and yet they're anywhere in the world wearing any kind of clothing, endorsing any kind of product. And, people interact with them like they are real. And they follow them, they're influenced by them. And, they do not exist, but they can be put anywhere in the world, like I said, in any outfit with any product.
Yeah.
And a similar response will be achieved. I mean, it's the
they can be used for good, James, can't they? They could. It's like humans. You could use humans to go to war, or you could have humans make unbelievable joy and abundance for everybody. So it's just a tool. And I think with the AI influencers, like you said, it could be an AI Greenpeace influencer who influences all the next generation of kids to look after the planet and love each other. It doesn't matter if it's so-called real. What is real, James? Are we a simulation? Are you real? Am I real? Where do we go when we die? Where was we before? What the hell are we doing on this planet? So it's a very big questions, James. But thank you for attending, guys. Absolute pleasure talking to you all. Thank you, Nick Heap, 82 years young. I can't believe that.
I'm struggling to believe that, Nick. I think we might need some evidence.
Nick's middle-aged in the new age. 150, James. Thanks to Debbie. Thanks to Nikki. Nikki, post some of your content in the comments. Let's have a look at Nikki's films. Great stuff.
Hopefully we did the subject justice.
Yeah, I think we did a few predictions there. Great to see you again, James. And pleasure, John and James have got a personal development course out, haven't we, James? So if anyone wants to check it out, Capitalist, John and James, we have got a little course coming out. So I'll put the links down. Well, it's pretty much done and dusted, isn't it? It's everything we've learned for 20 years in a nutshell.
20?
Well, 20 years in terms of time.
And 42 years combined.
Yeah, 50 plus 60 plus years combined in health, well-being, fucking crazy research, and spending loads of money on personal development and then condensing it into the most practical resource possible. So there's no sales, but we don't like sales. I don't like sales pitch bullshit.
There's no
value
bullshit.
Stacks. It just is what it is, James. It is what it is. So we'll put that in the. We might do a live on it another time, but we'll put the links somewhere, and then you can check it out. Okay, then, James. Take care. Have a good day, and thank you everybody for attending. And we will speak to you soon. Thanks, Debbie. Thanks, Nick.
Thanks, guys. Bye-bye. Much appreciated. Bye.